Hollande had a strong relationship with Goodluck Jonathan, and he hopes it will be the same with his successor Muhammadu Buhari. He came to power in May after a free and fair election in Africa's most populous nation. Buhari is in France partly to discuss ways to step up the fight against Boko Haram. The two presidents mentioned the links between Boko Haram and the Islamic State organization.
It's the same terrorist groups in different regions. They're inspired by the same deadly ideologies. That's why France, some time ago, intervened in Mali, why it supports the Lake Chad countries, why we are fighting against the organization of the Islamic State.
Boko Haram is virtually, its battleground is Nigeria, but it is expanding after declaring its loyalty to ISIS. And this gives it another very, very serious dimension. They have got sources of material resources.
Paris is seeking ways to boost the cooperation between Nigeria and its francophone neighbours, Cameroon, Niger and Chad, which are now also targeted by Boko Haram. On Sunday, yet another suicide attack killed several people in northern Cameroon. Buhari is also on this three-day visit to Paris to improve economic ties between the two countries. Nigeria is France's first trade partner in sub-Saharan Africa. Trading volumes represent 5.6 billion euros. And it's the third biggest recipient of French investments in Africa, for a total of 7.2 billion euros. Nigeria is Africa's biggest oil producer, but its economy has been hard hit by the fall in world prices.
And we're going to pick up on that point with our guest. Among those in attendance at that packed meeting with French business leaders earlier is a former advisor to two Nigerian presidents, Olusegun Awolowo, executive director of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council. Thank you for being with us here
thank you for having me.
On France 24. Before we talk about the bilateral relationship with France, how tough is the pinch from those falling oil prices right now?
It's really tough. It's really tough. We got a dip of almost 60% in oil revenue for any country. That is absolutely massive. But Nigeria hasn't been sleeping. We have been looking at the trend, and the next step is to develop our non-oil products.
Developing the non-oil products, and in the discussion we witnessed, there was this question of how to go about that, because I know that one of the big campaign issues was power failures and the power grid and how to bring electricity to Nigerians.
Well, I think, with the new government and what President Buhari is trying to do, and when you look at the trend of what he's trying to achieve, first he said security. Security is key. Without security, we won't be able to achieve this. That's what he was discussing with President Hollande as well. And he tackled it by the ECOWAS sub-region, where the terrorists come from. So let's meet with those presidents of those countries and tighten up. So once we get the security, the next thing he was going to face was power. And power is also key, how to generate and transmit this power. So there's work going on that. And when you see the trend is looking at, then it's tackling the revenue generation agencies that we have in Nigeria, the biggest one being the Nigerian National Petrol Company, NNPC, and with a new leadership, new strategy in place for that. It has a new head for the Federal Revenue Service to raise internal revenue. And then he has tackled the custom service, which is the biggest, one of the biggest bread basket we have in Nigeria. So
making sure taxes are collected, making sure oil's not stolen.
Oil is not stolen, and making sure that customs goods, everything is protected and revenue increases.
And excuse me for saying this, but he's doing all this without a government. He still has not named his cabinet, even though he was sworn in back in May.
No, he's taking his time. He's taking his time with that. But then again, there are agencies and parastatals that are in place and are working.
Excuse me, but some have even quipped that, hey, the country works better without a cabinet.
No, for policy direction, no, the president is going to get there. We'll set it. These are the agencies, the prime minister, they're operative. so to speak. You still need that general guidance in policy, which he will set, and then the ministers will come and implement. But I think, like I said, it's taking its time, and now we have got now to non-oil, and this is the new step of trading relationship. You mentioned that Nigeria is France's biggest trading partner in Africa. Yes, but most of those figures were from oil. Now we're now looking at a new international, like President Hollande captured it. It's a new international industrial cooperation between France and Nigeria. Not just trading partners, but we now cooperate on industry. And that's the very good meetings we had today at MEDEF.
And I got to ask you about this because Nigeria is a former British colony.
Yeah.
But how does it feel? Because the French are more hands-on when it comes to West Africa than the British. Is there a feeling that the welcome, describe the difference in the welcome when you come for meetings like this in London and in Paris?
Well, traditionally, because we're a British colony, we feel more at home. And then again, there's a language barrier. But you must realize that Nigeria is surrounded by French-speaking countries. They are neighbors. And so we've always had a good relationship with France in that oil. And, you know, when you were your number one trading partner in Africa, of course, the relationship must be good. So I don't think there is any problem with that. And France, yes, is more hands-on with their colonies than British is, but it's all for a good relationship. So it's very good. We feel welcome in Paris, and you know, I'm sure, you know, when President Buhari was elected, one of his first callers was President Hollande, and then we.
Because you're having this official visit here after the one in Washington, but before the one in London.
Well, there's no particular.
There's nothing to read there.
No, there's nothing. He's been talking to the British Prime Minister as well, and in fact, he saw him even before he was sworn into office.
All right, I want to get back to a point that you made earlier about how you first have to sort out the security situation. Yeah. When there was that business leaders meeting this Tuesday morning in Paris, someone in the audience got up and said, "Hey, you guys are signing deals, but again, they're deals for the south of the country. If we want to stop Boko Haram, we have to develop the north." No, what's the plan for the north?
No, there are plans in place for the north. In fact, there is a presidential initiative on the northeast, which is on ground. But first, you tackle the security before you, and the next time you now move to creating jobs, because that's what is important. So we have programs in place for all that. Once the security is settled, the next thing is to revive the Northeast, because the Northeast is really the agricultural base for Nigeria, and we need it. If we're going to rely less on oil, we need more the Northeast to work. We're all counting on it.
Final question for you. Yeah. At 72, you could say it's the second coming of Muhammadu Buhari. He was a coup leader back in 1983. That's 3 decades ago. How's he doing in terms of when you see him on a trip like this one? How's he doing in 2015, being back at the presidential palace and leading a delegation like this one?
Well, the old man is a young man at heart. And you see him in discussions. He's not napping. He's focused. He knows what he wants to say. He knows how to get it out. And I think he has a methodological system that is pursuing, and it's deliberate, it's focused, and it's consistent. So I don't think age has anything to do with that.
All right, a deliberate manner. So when can we expect that government?
He promised us September.
Okay.
End of September, so he's going to have it in place.
All right. I want to thank you, Olusegun Awolowo. Many thanks for stopping by our studios.
Thank you very much, Francois.
Thank you.
Thank you.